everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress of, a podcast about movies, TV shows, video games, and lots of pop culture and nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today, and with me per usual are two of your other hosts. We got Brian, also known as New Reliable, and Mr. Negative on a Dragon Ball Z Redemption arc, and Devin, also known as Mr. Nowhere. Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? It's late. It's late.
It's fucking late.
Oscar, you're getting really fast with those. You're like a pharmaceutical,
Devin, it's late. No. Well, the last episode of this podcast, I'll sound like the Micro Machines guy.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
It's real fast. You got to fit, in 10 seconds, you have to fit about 40 paragraphs of information.
Right.
And it's all side effects of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them is diarrhea. Anyway.
You guys feeling good though? Ready to start this show?
Hell yeah.
Always.
Let's get to it. We got big show, listeners. So with that, let's get to our first segment of the week.
News talk.
First piece of news. This week, we heard and learned that a Red Dead Redemption OG, numero uno, is getting a, not a remaster, not a remake, but a port to the PS4 and Nintendo Switch, and people are not happy. Gamers are not happy. Let's call them say for what it is.
You know who is happy? The people that made this fucking port.
Because they're gonna make so much money. But I mean, how do you guys feel about it?
They're breaking this game costs $50. This game's old as shit. I can buy the version right now, the fucking PlayStation Hits version for $10. $50 is egregious for a port. I don't like it. That's some Nintendo level shit, honestly, to me. And I understand, like, oh, well, that's a market price. That makes sense. No, you make the market. Fuck you.
I mean, it doesn't help that during this past week's Take-Two had an earnings call, and their CEO, Strauss Zelnick, basically said that, quote, that's just what we believe is the commercially accurate price for it. What the fuck are you talking about?
Wow. Remember how they made the remasters of the original collection of Grand Theft Autos, and that was $50, and then it still tanked because it looked like shit and it played like shit and was shit. This game's not even that, and it's $50.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe the market value isn't correct. I don't know.
Right.
No, they're just doing that. They're just getting in on that, that premium inflation stuff that corporations are doing right now.
It's just like, I get it, like companies do this, like they need a couple mil for some next project, but it's like, y'all make Grand Theft Auto. How are y'all not rolling in dough? What are you talking about?
Y'all been shilling the same Grand Theft Auto for 12 years now.
Like fucking right. It blows my mind. Yeah, so that's kind of disappointing because especially with Red Dead Redemption 2, how it takes place, obviously it's a prequel, so it takes place in the same area using parts of that same map. I think since that game came out, it got people thinking, oh shit, maybe it would be a lot easier for them to just make a remake of that first game, considering they've have this game here. It's basically it. And clearly they were like, no, here, this is what you get. But maybe it is like they saw how bad the Grand Theft Auto trilogy went last year. They're like, yeah, we can't do that again. Let's just make a quick port, bust it out there, and that'll be it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That was something I could see that could be digital only, maybe come out for $30 max.
Yeah, 50s. Oof.
That would have been in good faith, I think, to the customer base to do that, especially after the debacle with the Grand Theft Auto. That I just don't think that this was a smart idea. You can play. I want to say this sparingly. You can play this in other means, potentially on your computer, if you so choose to play this game, aren't interested in playing this game and haven't been able to play it yet.
If you sail the 7 seas, matey.
It's truly not hard, and it can run on most systems that aren't consoles, if you catch my drift.
Maybe if you raise a black flag and start raiding ships.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a bit bummed because, like, if they made a full remake of this game, I would be interested in it.
Sure.
But this, I'm like, I don't.
If they did like a Last of Us level thing where they like use
Yeah.
the assets that they already have to remake the first version, that could be impeccable, and I think that would sell a ton of. You know what I mean? Like I think that people would enjoy that a whole lot.
That first game is a classic. That first game is
Yeah.
amazing. Bit of a disappointment, but why are we surprised at this point?
Right.
Something else to be surprised about. Next up, Sega. They dropped a trailer for a show, I guess it's a show, called Sonic and Friends on TikTok. It's going to be
God.
animated shorts on TikTok.
It's Facebook Watch all over again.
What? That's so funny. Brian, what are they doing to your boy? What's going on?
That cow is getting milked so fucking dry. It's skin and bones. There's nothing left, and they just keep going for it. And I get it. Sonic is getting its flowers right now. Whether it deserves it or not is questionable. But they're definitely trying to capitalize on the amount of eyes that are on Sonic right now. And this is not it. I'm sure this will meet my algorithm at some point just because it has to based on the things that I like. And I hate that because it'll probably be force fed for a while, if anything.
Right.
No. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
For a TikTok short, it's got to be short.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And also, like, I feel like the people that are super into TikTok, or like, I don't know how many parents are showing. Are there cartoons on TikTok? Are there other things like this on TikTok? I don't know, but I feel like the people that like Sonic are not those people.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
this is baby Sonic. This is
Yeah.
baby Looney Tunes right now. So I don't really know. Yeah, it'd be really weird to have a child swiping through TikTok. That feels really
That's what I'm
damaging
saying. It
to
sounds.
a child's developmental health.
That's irresponsible.
Yeah, you're a bad parent if you're doing that. Heard it here first.
Oh, so that's weird. Next piece of news. Let's continue with our blue blur here. Sonic is a fucking scab. No. No. So, this is reported by Screen Daily that apparently the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie is going to continue filming. Obviously, we know there are two major strikes going on with the writer's strike and the actor's strike. But Sonic, people might not know this, is not a human and therefore is not in a union and is computer generated. So they're going to continue filming this movie, which means I want like paparazzi photos of the set of it's just a bunch of crew and a camera pointing at a field and they're just hitting record and then they're waiting like an hour and then hitting and stop and that's it. And that's the day.
How are they going to do the voice? And also, like, the internet is such an unforgiving place that, like, if word gets out, which it already has.
Word is out.
We're talking about it. Word is out.
Word is out.
But it's like when it comes time to release this movie, everybody's going to be like, "Hey, remember when you kept going during the strike?" And it's going to tank the movie.
I'm a little afraid about how this could look for them no matter what they're doing. I'm wondering if they're just shooting very specific scenes that don't need any people in them. And then maybe it's like places where you can't see Sonic's like mouth so well or things like that, where it's like maybe you can cheese it a little bit and then add the dub over it. Because, one thing about like Japanese dub, dubbing that to American into like English, it's usually, of course, they're already mapped out the words they're going to say. And then the English speakers have to make a script basically around that based on kind of what they're trying to get across in each scene. So maybe they might try to cheese it and do something like that. Maybe they're doing some of the filming of, they have the voice actors from other countries that are going to be in this movie, and maybe they're using that for the dub. And then maybe they're going to go back and then change it to the Ben Schwartz in them and make them kind of like rewrite the script a little bit to fit it. I don't know. None of it sounds good.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Because those people aren't under SAG. So like technically they can still work.
Wow, that would be so
shitty. Wouldn't that be really shitty?
That's so fucked.
Dude, that's wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like before Deadpool 3 had to stop because of the actor strike. They were still shooting during the writer strike because I'm assuming, this is all assumptions, that because Deadpool wears a mask and a lot of those things are like ad-libbed in post, like maybe 80 years later, like Ryan Reynolds just making up a different joke. They can shoot it without him having to do that and just shoot the action, It might be a similar thing like that. That's so interesting.
Yeah. I mean, and hey, I guess if it's a little bit more polished, I guess there's no problem. But as long as they're not like circumventing the strike.
We want them to not be crossing the picket line is the biggest thing.
Exactly.
Or fucking the picket line by doing really shady practices.
If you're just polishing stuff while they're out, then that's a different thing. So I guess that it really, the specifics of what they're doing really does matter.
They're gonna want to get a statement out.
Yeah.
If they care about their movie, they're gonna want to get a statement out.
It's either they're filming in a field or they're just filming in a big blue box somewhere, a big green box, and just doing that.
For the average person, it doesn't look good for them.
Right. We'll see. That movie's still trying to. What was it, Brian? You're saying they're trying to compete with Avatar 3?
It's supposed to come out the same day as Avatar 3, as far as I know. So we're about to fuck Barbenheimer. We're about to get Sonic Tar, baby.
It's all about the blues, baby.
Blue Man Group.
All right, let's move on to our next and final piece of news. But to do that, we have to hop to the trailer park. So let's do it.
Mom's Spaghetti.
Bow down, break it down, bow down, break it down, bow down, break it down, bow. Cool shirt, Devin.
Thanks, man.
He's wearing the root shirt.
Yeah, there you go. Listeners, this is the trailer parks, and we got one trailer this week. It is for Ahsoka, the upcoming Disney Plus series. It's the quote unquote the Force trailer on YouTube, whatever. I only saw this very quickly and I heard about it because I'm very excited for this show, especially after this, because in this, basically almost the entire thing, we get some Anakin voiceover, but like new, like Hayden Christensen new Anakin voiceover, which I think we all thought like and heard that I think he might be in this show in some kind of way, maybe flashback, which I kind of forgot until this. I was like, oh shit, I forgot that was a thing. And I'm just more jazzed to see more Hayden Christensen Anakin come back. I love his redemption arc he's been getting.
He's definitely getting a Brendan Fraser kind of situation where people are like, you know what? This man actually fucks. Let's go.
Right.
Put him in stuff.
So true.
Yeah, they had him in for Kenobi, and they're like, "Hey, you want to just do a few more lines while on your way out the door?"
Right.
No, it is nice to see him.
Yeah, me and Brian talked about this a little before the podcast, but I'm very jazzed for this show. I need to mentally prepare myself to be disappointed, but it's difficult because especially after watching this, I'm like, I'm psyched, man. I'm really psyched for this. I'm really psyched.
Yeah, who would have ever thought that'd be more ready for a Star Wars show than a Marvel show?
I know, right?
No, I'm also very excited because it's going to be cool. Like, Ahsoka's one of the main characters, and she's kind of sifted through the background of like the animated show, stuff like that. So probably she's one of the most powerful characters left at her time.
Yeah.
So, and the whole Thrawn thing is going to be really fun to watch because Thrawn was one of the coolest things.
I would say she has a super interesting story, which I think is interesting. I'm ready to see some more stories that aren't just Skywalker based. And of course, she has a tie to a Skywalker, but I do like her story as a whole. But also, last time I saw Darth Vader in a trailer, I watched one of the worst TV shows I've ever watched ever. So I can't get excited about seeing Hayden Christensen again because last time I saw him, I watched him be hot ass cheeks on the screen. So I'm tempering my. I love like the Clone Wars and like that era. Like I really love the prequels as a whole. So this is the part of Star Wars that means a lot to me. So I am being cautiously not even optimistic. I'm just being cautious.
Yeah,
That's
see. Fair. I mean, I think we've all kind of were a little burnt with Mandalorian. This past
Mandalorian
year.
season 3 was not good enough to me, and Boba Fett was trash, and Obi-Wan
Brian
was
hates
trash.
Obi-Wan with the.
The more I think about it, the more I hate it. The more I nostalgia had my rose-tinted glasses on.
Brian's like on a Devin Last Jedi level when it comes to that Obi-Wan show now.
Because it's like, even when I had my nostalgia glasses on, I still thought it was like a 6 out of 10. And then I took them off and I was like, damn, this show actually sucked a whole lot. What was this? This whole story was a mess. What was going on there?
It's so funny.
Oh, God.
It could have been so much more epic.
Could have been. It was just useless. It was useless fodder solely to sell us nostalgia, and I hate that because it's so obvious now.
Yeah.
Don't feed me bullshit and call it a dessert. That shit tastes like shit. Like,
hey, do you want to see a fight where Obi-Wan re-meets Darth Vader and they fight in a super epic spot, Brian? Best I can do is like a mine with like some piles of dirt.
Some rocks.
Best I got is like a quarry.
Yeah.
Not the quarry.
Oh man. All right. So yeah, Ahsoka two episode premiere coming next week. Very excited. But with that, guys, that is the news of the week. We've done it once again. Shall we now move into our main topic?
Let's do it.
Oh, I'm excited.
But first, listeners, we are trapped in another fortress this week. This week, it's about some video game adaptations. We've done a lot of stuff, but nothing like this in terms of we are going to do another bracket style tournament that we've done once in the past. We did it with the 90s kid show cartoons, winner being Captain Planet, obviously. Fucking what a comeback out of nowhere. So we're going to do something similar, except we're going to do with video game adaptations that have come out thus far in honor of both Twisted Metal having come out most recently and the Gran Turismo movie coming out coming soon. I don't know. It's not very marketed very well.
It doesn't. It's one big commercial for PlayStation. It's probably going to tell you to buy a PlayStation 5 at the end of it. Let's be real.
Basically, yeah. And so we're going to do this. We're going to stay right now at the top. We're sorry that we didn't include your favorite and also ones that are probably deserving to be on here, but none of us have seen. So let's shout out to Arcane, which probably would have won, but it's not going to this time. Shout out to that Cyberpunk animated show or anime. I don't know if it's an anime technically. I don't think it's Japanese based, but
people call it anime.
Which I hear is actually pretty good, but also not going to be part of this. Twisted Metal, I don't think is all done, so we cut that. Angry Birds, we just don't care. Ratchet and Clank did not make the cut. We're sorry. Most of those Final Fantasy movies are dog shit, and so they did not make the cut either. Need for Speed, Gran Turismo God, please be better than Need for Speed.
Didn't that have Aaron Paul and Kid Cudi in it? I saw it.
It sure does.
Yeah,
it sure
that
does.
movie fucking
It's
sucked.
not making the cut. RIP to Max Payne, a fucking dog shit of a Mark Wahlberg movie.
I did not realize it was Mark Wahlberg. It's
real bad. It's real bad. It's not Max Payne. It's real bad. Street Fighter, that one might hurt some people, but I've only seen snippets of that 90s movie. I know people have a nostalgia for it. And then also the Legend of Chun-Li was a really bad movie also that came out like a decade ago. And then Rampage, but Rampage might make it into this bracket in the form of it'll be tagged with something else potentially because it's whatever, who cares?
It's a Rock movie, so yeah, so they're all the same.
So don't get mad at us if your favorite wasn't included.
Rampage is a first round exit, no question.
Question. We have already had the rest of we've discussed and eliminated those, so we have the rest on here. We're doing 16 teams. We've already had our bracket laid out, so here we go. Round 1. It is Doom, the movie with The Rock and Carl Urban.
Ooh.
And this is where we tag on Rampage because who cares? We'll put Doom and Rampage together versus this poor one versus The Last of Us.
No fucking way!
Oh, this is so unfair to Doom.
I want a Doom to at least get one win.
Yeah,
I did too. That's tough. That's rough. That's rough for Doom.
A loaded bracket. I'm calling cheating.
Well,
Where's the ref?
This is the Cinderella story that just never came.
Nope.
Glass shoe shattered.
Turn back into a pumpkin real quick.
Yeah, this is very easy pick. It's Last of Us all the way. Although, but honorable shout out that Doom was a cool movie, and it's awesome to see The Rock as a bad guy.
It had interesting ideas. I see the vision. You know what I mean? There's some movies that it's not good, but you see the vision. And they did that that first person section, which was so controversial.
Cool.
And then they made so many movies after that had that in that. It's
really goofy, but I kind of like it a little bit in that weird way. But it's definitely goofy as hell. But they attempted it. They attempted it. You know?
Yeah, it honored the source material, and it.
No, it didn't. They went to fucking Mars and not hell. But whatever, it's fine.
I mean, Doom 3 goes to Mars. To be fair,
okay,
that is part of one of the stories.
And this one very much seems to be focused on Doom 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that first person section was it's cool that they're hey, let's take this video game aspect and put it in a movie. And also,
you know who stole that? Halo. And they did it somehow worse.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, it's The Last of Us for me as well.
Last of Us, easy round 1 done.
Sorry, Pedro Pascal is too pretty. You can't win the Rock.
Yeah, I don't think we needed to. We did so many episodes of listeners on Last of Us. You want to hear our opinion on that? Go back. So let's. I did want to take a little longer to talk about Doom because we've never talked about Doom before. Like Devin said, shout out to The Rock being a bad guy because obviously this was him in his early career when he was just kind of starting up out of wrestling, doing Scorpion King, and then this shit where you're yes. And this is The Rock that I think we all miss because now he seems like a robot, fake person type of thing.
This had to have been right after Scorpion King. This was 2004, 2005.
You see shades of every once in a while, like Hobbs and Shaw. He chopped it up a lot with Jason Statham. So I wish he would kind of lean more into that side, like Fast Five, that kind of side of what he's capable of. But he doesn't want to be a bad guy.
He's more of an anti-hero in Fast Five than he is in Black Adam.
Oh, yeah. True. So the game Doom 3 came out in 2004, and this movie came out in 2005. So it was very much trying to get on the hype train of that. And then when did Scorpion King come out? Scorpion King had to probably come out.
Scorpion King might be 2003?
2003?
I would be surprised if it's even in the 2000s.
I think the first one's 2000. First one's 2002. So this is right after that. So that was right when he was still trying to establish his career. So yeah. This is a really interesting space for The Rock.
This is when he still had hair.
Yeah. That's weird. He looks so funny with hair.
This is in that era of The Rock.
I don't know what ethnicity that man is when he has hair. It's super.
I just love in the final, his best line in that movie is he's showing down with Carl Urban. He's like, Semper Fi, motherfucker.
Semper Fi, motherfucker.
Faithful. Oh my God, so good.
I don't think who cares about spoilers for Doom. At the end, he turns into this weird they have weird prosthetics on him.
Yeah,
you could never put prosthetics on The Rock nowadays. They would never cover up that man's face in goo. They would never do it.
They should remake it.
Yeah.
I want them to remake it with him again.
They would remake it, and then Carl Urban would be the bad guy, and he would be the good guy. But I'd be okay with that too. But
no, you got to be the bad guy. But I will say, I forgot to say this at the top of this rule. Because Doom does have more than just a movie. I think they recently came out with another Doom movie as late as last year, maybe this year. They came out with one that might have been a straight to DVD. Apparently, I heard it was also dog shit. But when we're talking about these listeners, this will factor into our decisions because we have to encompass the entire franchise. Like we don't get to just to pick one movie if it was good. If it's followed by a bunch of other fucking shit ones, that has to go into consideration.
Damn.
Well, since Last of Us season 2 is probably it's just gonna be so bad. I guess I'll shoot dog.
If it ever comes to fruition with the SAG strike,
right? So yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a Last of Us clean sweep winner.
Yeah, clean sweep.
Sorry, Doom. Also, Rampage because it's The Rock. That movie, whatever.
Rampage sucked. I did not enjoy that movie at all. And I love the game Rampage. I still play it to this day, like the original one and World Tour.
It's a great game. Great game. Weird movie.
Weird choice for a movie.
Real weird. Somehow made monsters fighting not great. All right. Round 2. This one's easy for me, but there's something to talk about here. We have Castlevania, so that includes the Netflix series versus Pokemon, which parentheses includes things like Detective Pikachu and the 8 gajillion Pokemon animated movies they've made in the past.
There's so many bad adaptations. We're putting all the good ones against each other first.
I know. That's how the randomizer works, Devin.
Dang, that's tough, man.
It's tough. I mean, I think my vote will. I love me some Pokemon, but I haven't seen a Pokemon movie besides Detective Pikachu in a decade. That first one, nostalgia holds my heart, but if I were to go back and watch that now, I'd be like, this movie fucking sucks, probably.
Yeah.
And I've already talked about in this podcast how much I love that Castlevania series. I think those 4 seasons are fucking near perfection. First season, I know some people, it's only like 4 episodes. It's a little slow, but I still loved it. And then everything else after that, I think is fucking absolute perfection of that show. It's a near perfect show that seasons, especially seasons 2, 3, and 4. It's going to be tough to beat that.
I think just for the action, the episode of action only, where I don't even think they had dialogue for like the first 25 minutes, like where they take on Dracula, it's literally just music and action, and they don't talk.
Incredible.
It's
incredible.
Yeah. And it was one of the coolest action sequences of any show I've ever seen. So I think for that alone, I will vote for Castlevania as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's fairly easy for me. I was talking to someone actually yesterday about how I've watched the beginning parts of the anime of Pokemon recently and like some of the original movies. Mm-hmm. It's not really that strong of an anime. It's not really that strong of movies when it comes down to it. Digimon, I think, tells a much better story. It's unfortunate that Digimon didn't make like the same waves that Pokemon did because Pokemon was already so well established. But I love Pokemon. I have a lot of strong nostalgia for it.
I love Pokemon too. Like the original show, man. Like you could go back and watch some of those and it would unlock those core memories in the back of your brain.
And also add some trauma because those episodes are sad, bro.
Oh, I mean, he has the worst first day of his fucking life. Ash almost immediately dies.
He's 10 years old.
His first day as a 10-year-old out in the world. He shows the world does not give a fuck about you, bro.
Yeah,
that's so crazy.
Yeah, no disrespect to Pikachu though. Or to Pokemon.
Detective Pikachu, I thought was a really good movie as well. I had a lot of fun with Detective Pikachu.
Which is funny to me because I liked it, but maybe it got overhyped for me because I saw it like after the kind of hype passed. And I was like, you know what? I kind of like Sonic a little bit more than that. Not just the bias of it, but it was like, I don't see myself going back to see, honestly, either of those movies more than once. Sonic the Hedgehog, the original one, and then also Detective Pikachu.
I mean, yeah, I haven't seen either one of them yet.
I have no interest in seeing either of those movies again. And I feel like, well, damn, that maybe it wasn't as good as everyone said it was, but I don't even have the interest of seeing it again.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Ryan Reynolds is great. Don't get me wrong. He's great, but it was fine. Fun movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Pokemon is iconic, but for pure quality, especially as where we are sitting now, I think Castlevania, just for that one episode, it's so worth it.
The storytelling is really great. The animation's really great. There's just so much good stuff. Like Netflix somehow had a fluke with that one because that shit slaps.
They fluked into it. Usually in shows, the action's kind of like they just kind of do some very repetitive, like they don't really think about it as much.
There's creative stuff in it.
They thought about the choreography that they wanted to happen in these fights. Like they thought about specifically, like, okay, I want to have this effect. I want this to happen. And like I go back and watch it all the time, like on YouTube and stuff. So good.
It reminds me a lot about Avatar: Last Airbender. Where it's like they didn't have to go that hard at that part of the show, and they still chose to.
Yeah, but that's what makes it. I mean, that's why we voted for it just now.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Castlevania wins. Round 3. Fucking hell. We got Prince of Persia, which, as far as I know, I think is just that one Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
Oh my god!
It's going up against the Resident Evil series, and for funs and shits and giggles, this is where we're chucking in Monster Hunter in there because it's basically the same shit.
No, this is a good
Dang,
battle.
man.
This is what I'm looking for right
Here
here.
we go.
Yeah.
It's like, which one do you like more?
Which one?
It's
Yeah,
like
which one's worse?
a rock and a hard place of
Honestly,
shit.
I think you got to go Resident Evil because at least they made like 5, 6 of them.
That's a solid point.
You know, they made enough money.
And like, I honestly, I don't think the first Resident Evil is the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of bad ones that followed that, though. The pro I will give Prince of Persia is that there's just one that's kind of mediocre. There's like 5 bad Resident Evil movies.
Kind of mediocre, first of all. That is I'm pretty sure they put that on the cover of their DVD box set. Because that was the best review they got. Because that movie was not mediocre.
I haven't
that movie
seen
was
it,
garbage.
I think, since it came out. And so it's probably a lot worse than what I remember. And it was not very good when I saw it. So.
God, it's so funny because it's based on the best game.
Oh my God, I was looking forward to that movie so much.
Dude, if they had casted somebody that was actually Persian instead of fucking Jake Gyllenhaal.
We got to deduct points for that. Like, we can't do the whitewash. We can't support the
We deduct
whitewash.
points for racism.
There's got to be some Persian people in Hollywood, right? There's got to be at least one Persian.
Damn, we can make some. We can ask some people.
We could make some.
We can make somebody a star. Jesus Christ!
I'm saying there's got to be somebody that's big now that is like, hey, you're a little Persian. We can use that.
You're a little Persian.
We can get the guy that fucking played Aladdin.
Right.
I think he's Egyptian, but
that's the closest we've gotten so
that's
far.
Sadly the closest I think we can. Hollywood needs to fix itself. So it's not our fault.
We need to do a reverse Argo. We need to go into Iran and just be like, hey, we need a lead actor. We're gonna kidnap somebody from your country, take them to Hollywood and make them a star.
Make you a star.
Damn, it's
reverse Argo.
That's a new version of Industry Plant. We're Industry Planting by kidnapping now.
We need someone of Persian descent from around the Tehran area.
Right.
To be a Hollywood superstar.
Oh, that's so movie. Funny. Yeah, that's a solid point. We can't vote for the whitewash. So for me, it's probably going to be Resident Evil and Monster Hunter.
it was going to be Resident Evil and Monster Hunter for me anyway, because I always loved the original Resident Evils, despite being an atrocity of movies.
Right. Yeah, nostalgia alone.
Yeah, they were trying to develop an IP there. They were trying to do something. So I see the vision.
And also, there's like some animated Resident Evil movies that aren't that bad.
That's true.
Raccoon City is supposed to be good. I think that was a show that came out not that long ago before the most recent Netflix version, which was an atrocity
really bad
of man. Probably some of the worst stuff I watched until Lance Reddick got on. Rest in peace, Lance Reddick.
Right.
That man had so much fun with his role in that because he got to play multiple characters. And God, he is the only saving grace of that terrible, terrible, terrible show that had the audacity to set itself up for a second season when it did not even deserve the 6 episodes that it got to begin with. But I loved it. I loved it because it was so bad it was good because it was hilariously bad. So Resident Evil through and through.
Yeah, Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, you got lucky. You get to slide through.
You don't deserve it. That's for damn sure.
You don't deserve it, but you somehow got past the first round. All right. Round 4, we got the Super Mario Brothers, which includes the most recent movie and the really bad one from the 90s.
If anything, that brings it up for me because I think that movie fucking slaps. So I don't care what anybody says. I will fight for my life for that movie. That movie is good.
Well, then this one's going to go very quickly, I would imagine, because it's going up against Warcraft, which as far as I know is only that one movie. So, and I haven't seen it, but you two have. So this is going to be mostly between you guys because I obviously I'm gonna go Super Mario because as much as I do not like that one from the 90s, I really adored and fell in love with that animated movie that came out this year. I really liked it a lot. We did a whole episode about it. And I never saw Warcraft, so I gotta go Super Mario. I thought it was very charming.
That's really tough for me because I'm kind of the opposite. I really adore the original 90s movie. I think that the newest movie was AI generated and Chris Pratt sucks. So I don't feel I think it was a decent movie. I think that I was very well polished and well made. But I do think it's a movie that I'll probably never see a second time. Like if I want to be honest to myself.
It's honestly unfair to this movie. Chris Pratt, like he's so unlikable now that like if it was anybody else, I think I would like this movie more.
Yeah. I hate to be that way, but I do think he was the worst part of that movie, even though the rest of the cast did phenomenally.
Right.
That being said, I think Warcraft was treated unfairly. It's one of those things where it's like, look what they did to my boy. Because I mean, I'm obviously biased. I have a lot of, a huge past in World of Warcraft and that whole space as a whole. I'm not a huge lore head, so I can't really talk from that aspect. But I do think the movie has some things that we're back to it. I see the vision. I saw the vision. I really wish they had just gotten the Warcraft team that actually makes the cinematics to do the movie, because they are phenomenal at everything that they do. I really don't like the live action of this movie. I really don't like the CG work. I really don't like the actors that they got. God, there's something here that tells a good story in that movie that like a lot of people that wouldn't be exposed to it otherwise got to see. Me and Devin talked about it a little bit off podcast, so it's like,
and I think the world of Warcraft.
See what you did there.
Is actually like,
Jesus Christ!
I really didn't mean to do that, but no, the world is like of fantasy worlds other than like Lord of the Rings. I think I've been the most intrigued by the Warcraft world, so I think the potential was there.
I think you would love the lore of that game. I think that like I don't think you would enjoy playing it like talking about, but I think that like the books that exist and stuff, I think you'd probably like it a lot. It talks a lot about military stuff, a lot about the grievances of war, about like who's on the right side of like, morality. It's big on that. Like neither of the people are considered good or bad. Actually, like the humans are considered pretty bad in what they do, because they've like done slavery and stuff like that. And then like the orcs are like, just trying to live. Vibe out. So there's a lot of cool stuff there.
And I also like that, like humanizing the orcs too, and like, giving them more characterization.
Yeah. Honestly, based on this conversation we just had, I think I'm gonna pick Warcraft. I think I like Warcraft a little bit more.
There you go.
As far as adaptations go, what are we considering in adaptations? Only visual media? Because this has books and stuff too.
Yeah, I think we'll stick with visual media.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, even with still just the movie, I still think that there is more interesting things that exist in this movie than exist in the Mario movies.
Right.
Yeah. Honestly,
it's on you, Devin. It decides on you.
I'll vote for Warcraft 2 just because I was so unimpressed with the Super Mario movie.
Let's go.
I thought it should have been much better.
Damn, there you go.
I thought the action sequences were cool, but I just think that the story for me was just so dumb. And the jokes were bad. The jokes were not funny.
That's fair. I mostly just fell in love with looking at the shit like a small child.
They did a really good job with that. But
yeah, credit to them fucking animators.
Hey, but Warcraft had some pretty cool things too. There was like a really cool scene where like the soldiers are charging in, and then they shoot the orcs with pistols, which is like that's cool. I've never seen that before.
Right, that's interesting. Yeah. I've always wanted to see it, but I never had enough motivation to watch a movie that's just fine.
This is definitely an upset pick.
Yeah. It's hard to tell people to watch that don't have any affiliation with Warcraft at all, because I just don't feel like you'll appreciate the things that it does. It's a standard fantasy, you know what I mean? If you don't know it, it's a standard fantasy.
And that was the thing, is like two things was like the world didn't look super interesting to me, and two, and I understand why they couldn't. I would have rather they did more practical stuff with them orcs. Obviously, there's the one girl orc who is practical, and then everyone else is a big CG Hulk, which I get because they don't have enough humans to do that practically. But I just didn't like the look of it as much.
Yeah. Fantasy disrespects like fantasy races, because every single like male fantasy, like, oh, I'm an orc, big burly green. Oh, I'm a tauren, I'm a huge cow and things. And then the women are just like green woman.
They're
black
smaller,
woman, yellow woman, and it's just still just a humanoid woman. It's just still like they still have to look fuckable. I have to look like I want to fuck it. And it's like, come on, man. Like,
that's a problem. That's true.
And that's the thing. She's played by what's her name? Oh, hold on, because she's in Mission Impossible 4. I can't remember.
Yeah.
She's beautiful, and they got her painted green like Gamora, and she got these fucking orc upside down vampire teeth talking throughout the whole damn movie.
It's also comical in that movie because of how big the orcs are. Like, to see them fight humans like 1v1 it was so hilarious. Like when the main character, Lothar or whatever, he's like fighting these guys that are like, they could throw your horse like across a football field, and yet somehow you can beat them one-on-one combat. Like
Paul Patton. There we go. Shout out to Paul Patton. I wish she was in more things. She's great.
She played Garona.
Who
is a half orc, to be fair. She's supposed to be half human.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes
still looks fucking stupid. Also, who's fucking orcs? What's going on here?
Hey man,
I have logistical questions.
It's the Hulk and Black Widow kind of situation. What's going on here?
All right, let's move on before we dive too deep. All right, next, Warcraft 1. All right, next round, we got Tomb Raider, which includes the 2 Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider and then Cradle of Life sequel, and the new reboot, which I didn't think was that terrible. I thought it was fine.
There was a new one?
Yeah, it was more based off the new iteration of the more quote unquote realistic Uncharted Tomb Raiders. with Alicia Vikander as your new Lara Croft, and it was more based off that rebooted one. Versus the Cuphead show, which is obviously based off Cuphead, which I love the Cuphead show. I think it's had 3 seasons at this point. I've recommended it every time we do a new season pops out. As much as I mean, the Angelina Jolie ones are probably they're not great. I don't think they're the second ones I think is pretty bad.
But I love them.
But I did quite enjoy finally the reboot, but it's still gonna go Cuphead for me. It's just like what a fun idea that because it's like the game is a fucking side-scrolling shooter type of hard ass 2D game platformer. And then they turned it into this fun, like darkly comedic show on Netflix. Stick to animation. Stick to animation.
Which is funny because they hate their animation studios. So it's like,
that's crazy.
This is the only thing that's working for you, brother. You need to keep them.
Right? So yeah, I love the Cuphead show. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for more.
I haven't watched it, but just knowing the game and knowing like how much like obviously it took from our old 1920s kind of cartoons at the time, and the animation style is just beautiful in the game. It only made sense to make it into actual cartoon. And I've heard from not just you, but just from as a whole that it's an amazing kind of like iteration of that. So Tomb Raider sucks. Tomb Raider just sucks. I love the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raiders. They're very 2000s. They're very painfully of their time. I'm sure if I watched them now, I would think they are an atrocity on this earth.
Oh
Probably.
my gosh.
I can say that pretty confidently. So that's fine.
Yeah, we were looking for a dumb action movie recently, and we watched the trailer. And man, like just the technology and everything was
you watched the trailer.
I want to watch it again.
What
Tomb Raider,
butt metal song was on?
I know. I was about to say,
trailer.
right?
Yes. Honestly, yes. Like for 100%. That's so right.
It's so funny how much better we got at making trailers in so little time.
It was in that era of like your underworlds. I bet you there was an Evanescence song in Tomb Raider at some point. No disrespect to Evanescence, you got some good music, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I protest vote Tomb Raider just because.
Okay.
Respect Angelina Jolie, but
yeah,
I guess
yeah.
Cuphead
Shout out to
got
her.
the 2 votes.
She's got a lot of black children.
Get your bag. Yeah. All right. So Cuphead wins round 6. We got this one's gonna be easy for you guys and myself. We got Sonic the Hedgehog, which includes the first 2 movies. I guess we'll include all of the fucking millions of different shows they.
I'm about to say we got the Jaleel White show. We got the most recent one that came.
I watched that show growing up.
Yeah. Sonic Boom. Actually, they have a lot of good media. Wait a second, hold up.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot. There's a lot of Sonic more than just those 2 movies.
Brian had to do a double take.
I had to think about that. I was like, Sonic Boom was a really good show for no reason. The video game was terrible.
They have the new Netflix show as well, which Brian said is not very good.
It's okay.
It's okay.
They released some new episodes. It's okay.
This is going up against the fan favorite, Halo. Listeners, Devin is holding his head in his hand. He's rubbing his eyes.
I mean, I'm voting Sonic. I had a better time watching the 2-hour Sonic movie than I had with the 8 episodes of Halo.
Hey
so
man,
that should tell you something.
There was also that movie Forward Unto Dawn that came out.
Yeah.
Shit.
Didn't you like that, Devin?
That's okay.
Devin's got a dilemma on his hands. You know what, Brian? We should have included the book media, and then Devin would have picked Halo.
It would have been Halo, no question.
We should have put the books in.
Sure.
Damn it.
Yeah, I would have picked Halo. Ooh, do the trailers count? Because the Halo 3 trailer.
No.
Dude, it's a video game trailer.
I'm telling you, in high school, the Halo 3 trailer where he throws down the bubble shield and then he jumps into an army of brutes, we watched that on repeat for about 100 times.
Devin wants to put the trailer for the video game.
We had to watch that back when it was like dial-up internet, and you'd have to wait for like a 1 minute long trailer to like load, and then once it was loaded, you could rewatch it and stuff. So we would loop that.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
That 1 minute trailer was better than the entire Halo show, so by a large margin.
Oh man.
Obviously, Sonic, no question. Even with whatever shit we have about Sonic, but I do think it's funny how awful Halo ended up being. I recall for some reason randomly in Halo Infinite, they like weapon charms or something in that game because that's a new cosmetic thing that happens on games. They gave us the helmets of like the main 3 cast of the Halo show. So people started speculating that like they're going to announce season 2 soon. And I just remember seeing a great fucking quote tweet that was like, "Oh yeah, do you think they're going to announce Halo season 2 soon?" And someone just said, "I hope not." And that was it.
It's where the whole Halo fan base is at.
That's so sad.
Even the Halo fan base is like, no, thank you.
I will never forget. Every time I think of that show now, I think of like the one quote I saw in an article from one of the showrunners where it's like, I just want an NFL dad and his son to be able to watch this show. I'm like, fuck off. Fuck off.
Funny. When we talk about this, I was a little more positive about it in terms of I have never played a Halo game. So I saw all the terribleness of it. I saw a lot of the hit or miss CGI-ness of it. Didn't think it was all that terrible because it was basically a prequel. I'm still waiting to see what season 2 does. It would be an amazing redemption story if that season 2 is like a 180 from season 1. It would be incredible.
I
don't think it will be, but it would be incredible.
I need you to just play the games. The stories of the games are actually really
Fair
good.
enough. That being said, it's easily Sonic. I really enjoyed Sonic 2, the live action specifically more than the first one. I thought the first one was fine, paint by numbers, but fine. 2, sure. I really enjoyed it, obviously because my boy Tails is in it, so I got to represent Tails and Sonic.
Hey, but Jim Carrey, man,
and Jim Carrey, he's fun. He's having a great time in that shit.
Doing good work.
I had a good time watching the first Sonic movie. I have not seen the second.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll like the second one, I think, a lot more. The first
I think
one
you'd like it more, to be honest. Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, so Devin, you're voting for Halo. Sadly, I think Sonic still wins.
Oh wait,
it's okay.
No. Yeah, Sonic. Don't joke about that.
Moving on. Next one, we got Mortal Kombat, which includes the 2 movies from the 90s and that kind of hit or miss. I didn't watch it, but I heard it was kind of bad.
You didn't watch
it? The YouTube series?
Oh, the YouTube series. Oh, that's
the YouTube series. No, the new reboot I did watch. Not as big of a fan of it though. I in the moments I was having kind of fun. I was also drinking at the time when I watched it. But then after looking back, it was kind of like my version of Obi-Wan, where looking back, I was like, yeah, that should have been a lot better than what it was for me.
That's fair.
So I still think the 95 movie is the best. But that is going up against Hitman, which I think has like 3 movies that are all really...
3?
I'm pretty sure there's 3. I'm pretty sure there were 2 Hitmans and then a reboot, or at least 1 Hitman and then a reboot. So there's at least 2 Hitman movies.
This is tough. This is like...
Is it?
They're like equal
This is not tough. This is easily Mortal Kombat for me.
I don't even care that the second movie used cardboard cutouts of everything that happened in the last movie. Fucking Hitman sucks. I've only seen 1. I didn't know they made other ones. It was what's his face that actually is in not Obi-Wan, but he's in Mandalorian, Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah. What the fuck was that?
Bald head and everything.
What the fuck was that? That movie sucked.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of these we mentioned are like, oh yeah, they made that remake, like, and they just kind of like float by without, like, you never really realize they actually made them.
Yeah, I didn't know there were more movies after that, because that movie was like probably one of the lowest rated movies on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's bad, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's 2. So there's Hitman and there's Hitman Agent 47, which was not with Timothy Oliphant. That came out in 2015.
Oh, who?
Yeah, I remember seeing clips from
I
that
think
one.
it's some dude.
I don't know who the fuck Rupert Friend is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
And then a woman's name who is Angela Baby.
Nope. No.
But it's all one word, Angela Baby.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think Mortal Kombat for me.
I mean,
easy. The first movie fucks. The soundtrack
that
is
movie
crazy.
wins just off the song.
That's what to say. The soundtrack fucking busts.
It's a 90s rave for 90 minutes.
Who's the guy that plays Scorpion? He's Japanese in every single movie.
I know what you're talking about.
His family gets murdered at the beginning.
Oh, are you talking about the new one?
Yeah, the new one. Sorry.
Oh, the new one. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's in every.
What his name is.
He's every time you need a samurai hit, he's the guy. So out of respect to him, I will vote for Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
Also, I just love that the first movie did so good, and they have this crazy like freeze frame at the end, and then the second movie comes out, and the budget got cut in like a third, so they had to like put a cardboard cutout. Half the actors are missing. They recast the other half.
And then they kill off a couple as well.
A couple in the very first 5 minutes.
First to second, yeah.
It reminds me of The Descent compared to The Descent too, which is amazing how much they fumbled that bag.
Damn.
I love it.
Ugh, yeah. All right, Mortal Kombat wins. Easy victory. 8th and final round of this first go bout. We got, this will probably actually be easy. It's Uncharted versus Assassin's Creed. 2 movies that have one thing to talk about. Both, I'd say one more highly received than the other, but also not very good. I have not seen Assassin's Creed. I also heard it was really, really bad. It's on a list somewhere that I want to see it, but I just, again, like Warcraft, I just don't have the motivation to. I came out a little more positive on Uncharted, the Tom Holland movie. Think it's incredibly miscast, but there's one specific action sequence at the end that I thought was actually kind of imaginative and creative and fun. Other than that, the movie is fine.
Well, I have seen Assassin's Creed. So.
Oh, you have? Okay, I have too.
Oh,
so
there
because
you go.
of that, I will vote for Uncharted.
I didn't think I had, and then I just looked it up and saw some scenes. I was like, I did watch this movie.
Really
I
dumb.
hated it. I thought it was really, really bad. I thought
Their
it was like
idea
really, really bad.
for the animus is instead of having you like lay down and like have something that connects to your head, they literally put them on like this robotic arm and they're like flying around the room.
That's so weird.
It was so unnecessary and dumb.
That's what people think. That's what people want fucking VR to be.
Yeah.
Well,
this movie had a $125 million budget. Funnily enough, they really believed in this movie.
I mean, it could have been cool. Could have been really cool.
It's the idea is there. Like you can just do a bunch of one-offs taking place in different time periods. I think that's why I'm more curious to see it, just to see how badly they fucked this up. Like, how did you fuck this up?
I think you should watch it.
It's based on books, right? So you could make another movie.
Is it? I don't know.
I thought so.
Assassin's Creed. They
Assassin's
have
Creed?
books.
What are you talking about?
I thought, like, read. I don't know. I saw something somewhere.
I think there are books, but
it's based on the Bible. Like, I don't. What do you want? Like, the original book.
A history book.
I was about to say. All right, Brian just won joke of the day. That's funny. Yeah, it's Uncharted for me.
Yeah, I Uncharted as well. I think that movie is fine. I think it's a good action movie. I don't know enough about Uncharted itself to like be mad at what they did with it. So it wins for me there. I do think Assassin's Creed isn't even worth watching because it's not even fun bad. It's boring bad. So keep that in mind when you watch it.
Yikes.
If you watch it.
All right, Uncharted then wins. Now that we've gone through those, we don't have to discuss them as in depth anymore.
Exactly.
So, I didn't even know this until now. This sucks. I thought this would be the finale.
It's Assassin's Creed, not Assassin's Creed. It's fucking Last of Us versus
The Last
Castlevania.
of Us versus Castlevania. I thought this would be the finals. Here we are, guys. Fuck.
I mean,
fuck.
I don't know. It's not hard for me. I think it's Last of Us.
It's very hard for me.
Because, like, Castlevania is very, very good, but to do it live action is a whole nother level of, like, difficulty to pull it off. And the fact that they were so... Because I don't really know the lore of the Castlevania games, but, like, when you get into the point where you're going shot for shot with stuff in the video game, and you're that faithful to it, and you have the creators, you know, one of the writers of the game with you.
Right.
You know, it's just a beautiful story. I just think it's Last of Us pretty easy.
On one end, they pulled off something that I didn't think they could do, and that they still made a game that I've played, 5-10 times, and still made it interesting in what I consider a lesser form of entertainment in TV because it's not interactive. So I'm missing a portion of what I got in the game and still making it, add something to my life. That was a hard sell. That's something that I could not expect anyone to do. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I hardly care about Castlevania video games as a whole. I've played maybe the first 2. It's a horrible night to have a curse. Like that always happened to Castlevania 2, and then it turns dark, and then life is really hard. That's what I remember from Castlevania. And then they did a Guardians of the Galaxy of it. They made me care about stuff that I don't give a shit about as far as those games are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Another very hard thing to do. So I'm gonna leave it to see where you guys land first before I make my decision.
Well, I was just gonna say my one note with Castlevania is I do think plot wise some of the characters were underused, undervalued, / some plot, like some things they set up in season 2, season 3 that didn't really resolve in anything, and they kind of had to not retcon stuff, but just kind of didn't follow through on something. So I think action wise amazing, but The Last of Us was such a perfectly crafted story that you don't really see a lot nowadays. Or just in general, you don't really see a story that's just so well with just a bow wrapped on top.
Yeah.
But Castlevania had some of that weakness story-wise to me. Still very good though.
I'm kind of leaning where Brian is in terms of I played one Castlevania game, and it was the reboot that came out in the 2000s that the Kojima company worked on as well. I thought that game was phenomenal. Other than that, I never played any of the side-scrolling Castlevania games. That might be its benefit compared to Last of Us, because I think it might be a thing I'm a little too close to Last of Us in terms of, we talked about it. Like, I had my issues in terms of some of the pacing things with that show. I loved how faithful they were. It was almost like I wanted them to be even more faithful, because it almost felt like the HBO show was a speed run of the game, and I kind of wanted it to be a little longer, funny enough. I still love that show. I adored it, but I think it might be a thing where I'm too close to that game, whereas Castlevania, I have the distance of not really caring or knowing all of the story, and so the surprises were surprises. There are a few things in The Last of Us that surprised me. Obviously, episode 3 with Bill and Frank's story, what a beautiful, amazing surprise. And I just thought about that right now, and that did sway me slightly towards Last of Us. But still, even with all that, I think Last of Us has more flaws for me than Castlevania does. Granted, it's hard because, like Devin said, the live action to animation thing, and it's slightly unfair because it's a different art.
Right.
But if we're going video game adaptation, not live action video game adaptation, I'm gonna give it to Castlevania. I'm sorry, I think it's also unfair because Castlevania's done, whereas Last of Us, it's done. Season 1, it could be a complete story, but we know there is more to come. Whereas, and so with Castlevania, I know is done. I think it was just a beautiful bow on a story, and it was just great, And so I'm gonna give it to Castlevania. I'm sorry, Last of Us, I love you, but I
Dang,
can't.
man.
Yeah, this was rough.
Well, it's up to Brian.
Oh, you're picking Last of Us?
Yeah, definitely.
I agree in a lot of places that Oscar does, and that I do think that there were more flaws in The Last of Us. One big thing for me was just like the lack of like you said, it's like a speed run. Like anytime there was any tension between like Joel and Ellie and zombies, just didn't exist on screen when it came to that. And I think that bothers me more later than I initially realized when the show did end, because they really cared a lot about like the character and like human versus human interactions. But it really took away like one of the biggest tensions of the game, which is supposed to be the fact that there's also fucking zombies there.
Right.
The Walking Dead gets kind of lost in the same thing. So I think that I agree that Castlevania is just a little bit of a tighter bow than
a little bit.
Whoa.
Than
what
The
an
Last of Us.
upset.
Yeah.
I knew it would come down to these two at some point. I just didn't expect it to be this soon.
Yeah, it sucks because Last of Us gets rated like 15th, 16th. And that's so shitty.
It breaks my heart a little.
Yeah, they get second rounded. Crazy.
That's
Dude,
so tough.
And like Last of Us
tough.
is like in the conversation of like, oh, like we should do more video games and stuff.
Right. One of the top adaptations of all time for sure, regardless of what this bracket looks like.
Mm-hmm.
That's rough. All right, moving on. Let's get to Resident Evil versus Warcraft. For me, this is I can't believe Resident Evil just passed Last of Us. I'm so pissed. For me, at least, I'm so pissed off right now.
I mean, whoever wins this round is just getting smoked by Castlevania next round. So
it's true.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Resident Evil just on the sense that, like Devin said, it somehow made more movies.
Yeah, they made a lot of them. They told a lot of stories.
And there's, and also I haven't seen Warcraft, so yeah.
That's fair. I was gonna say Warcraft because I just think it does actually tell a better story. The Resident Evil movies are an atrocity, except for the one that I haven't seen, so I can't attest to that one.
Very true.
All right, so Resident Evil moves to the next round. Next, we have this was gonna be a battle. We got Cuphead versus Sonic, battle of little animated
This
characters.
ain't no battle for me, baby. Sonic 2023, 2024, running for president. It's almost of age.
I don't know. I can't not vote Sonic because I haven't seen Cuphead. So
no, that's fair enough. I would have voted Cuphead just because I really do adore that show, but I'm also okay with Sonic.
Jaleel White Sonic exists, and you're gonna vote for Cuphead? What the
Is Sonic gonna end up in the final against Castlevania?
Who knows?
As long as I have anything to say about it.
Jeez.
All right. Next in this second batch, here we got Mortal Kombat versus Uncharted. Nostalgia wins for me, man.
No question. Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's no way. It's not tough for me. Uncharted. Tom Holland. Another L for you, baby. I'm sorry. I hear Crowded Room's getting slightly better, even though that's been a really bad show as well.
He has to watch Sunday have a 3-way without him, and then
he decided to get his bum pounded. I was trying to find better words. I couldn't find any.
Yeah,
so sorry.
That was the best you got. All right,
That's the best I could find. I was gonna say back blown out, but that sounded too bad. So then I said something even worse.
Well, now you said it, so it's already there. All right. So Mortal Kombat wins that one. All right, let's go. Here we go to the semis. We got Castlevania versus Resident Evil. Guys, this is a tough.
Lance Reddick solos. I don't give a fuck, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's Castlevania. Like, who are we talking about?
Yeah.
Now here we go. Sonic versus Mortal Kombat. A battle of the 90s, in a way.
You already know, baby. Sonic 2023, Sonic 2024, Mortal Kombat definitely has less accolades, I feel like, as far as media goes.
That's honestly fair.
I just had more. I had fun watching. I had a lot of fun watching Sonic's stuff.
Like, we keep talking about the movies that came out, and like the first movie, like we said, is generic, and that's fine. Second movie definitely is much more close to home because it actually wants to do something different. But also Sonic Boom is an incredible cartoon. That's a really, really good cartoon, probably Sonic's best cartoon. even more like than Sonic Prime that just came out. And then of course Jaleel White's Sonic with Sonic and Tails, and used to have like the little PSA at the end and stuff like that, like don't do drugs.
I remember watching Saturday morning cartoons and watching those. Nostalgia.
So it's just stronger. Yeah. It's stronger for me. Even trying to put my bias aside, I think there's more that I do enjoy than that, because I can only think of one that I like of the other franchise.
And the movie could have been really, really bad.
Yeah, that's true. Like I'm really playing off just that first Mortal Kombat movie.
The second one is so bad. It is laughably bad.
It's not enough to overcome. I think Sonic has more pedigree. He's got more stuff, and so yeah, I'll give it to Sonic. That's okay.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. It's the finals. We got Castlevania versus Sonic.
The
Battle of the Ages.
Sonic 2023, Sonic 2024, baby.
Damn.
No. To Castlevania, like we said, is near perfect. Sonic has had a lot of fumbles in its lifespan in gaming, in TV, and movies. There's a TikTok show coming out. It's
forgot about that.
Castlevania's curated, and I think that's a good thing about it. It's the Apple of TV.
Right.
It doesn't have the audacity to have all that other shit around it. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I go Castlevania, man. I think it's just so good. Love that second Sonic movie, but it's Castlevania for me.
Listen, it made it to the finals. I'll take it. That's higher than I expected.
Fucking poor Last of Us. Shit happens, man.
I cannot
shit
believe.
happens.
If this is a video game tournament, Last of Us made like $30. They made no money just now. The tournament prize winnings are 15, 16.
I'm shocked.
That's how the bracket goes. That's nuts. Last of Us didn't even make it to the fucking semis. That's crazy. All right, so Devin, what you got? Is Castlevania?
I mean, yeah. I guess so.
Yeah. Castlevania wins best video game adaptation in our tournament. Here we are. I think a great winner. Honestly, us talking about it so much makes me want to go back and watch that season 2 fight. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I might do that. But yeah, there we go. Again, we're sorry we didn't include your other thing. Arcane probably would have won, but none of us have seen it. Sorry.
It's now on my list to now seriously consider watching, because I know it's short as well. Same with Cyberpunk. I hear Cyberpunk's super short, and I hear it's really good.
Yeah.
The bad thing about both of those things are they're so good that they'll make you want to play their respective video game, which you should not. Don't do it. You don't want to play League of Legends. You don't want slurs thrown at you. Don't do it. You don't want to play Cyberpunk. It's fucking broken. It'll break your PlayStation 4, because I know you don't have a PlayStation 5 yet. Don't. Stop talking about it. I know you don't got one, so don't play it.
Also, before you yell at us, The Witcher is not on here because that's mostly based off books in that video game. So
and also, it sucks.
Count. Also, it wouldn't have
wouldn't have made it far.
It would not.
Also, it fucking sucks.
Yeah, I don't think you can use the word adaptation with The Witcher. It's very, very loose adaptation. So
I mean, it's adaptation the same way that Halo's adaptation. Was it an adaptation of butt cheeks? Like, it doesn't matter.
Oh, it's funny. So there we go. Congratulations, Castlevania. One day we'll talk about you. Maybe we'll talk about you before that new spin-off show comes out sometime.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, that's it, guys. We've done it. Shall we now move into our final segment of the week?
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
But first, let's say hello to our final host. Alex is joining us for this segment. He got some important things to say.
Hello, good morning. Just arriving, popping up out of the woodworks.
Yeah. This is our final segment, which we like to call Free For All, listeners. Title pending. This is a segment where we kind of do whatever we want. Recommend something, talk about a day, talk about life. It's Free For All. Alex, since you very much wanted to join for this segment specifically, what you got for us this week?
I have accomplished wonderful things, gentlemen. I have very recently finished Final Fantasy VII.
Wow.
They said it would never happen. They said it would never be done.
It was a long, grueling process for me. It took me.
Your Switch is probably so happy right now.
Yeah. I think the last time I talked to you guys about it, I had a great time playing the game, but I got to a certain point, like I do in most games, where it's the final section, and I just put it down for a minute, and then I never pick it back up again. And I like paused it and put it on sleep mode, and I had like all these things to do with, like, I was just about to fight Sephiroth for the very last time, and I knew, like, all the characters were saying, "This is gonna be it, guys. Let's do this. Let's make sure all of our party is good." And then it says, you need to split your party up into 2 parties. Make sure all the stats are, like, all the items are equipped. And I'm like, fuck. Because the way they do magic in this game is different. And they're basically, all the magic spells are connected to these magical item orbs, materia. and everybody has to. You don't just learn spells; you just like equipped the spells. Then everybody can swap them around or whatever. And I basically sold all the duplicates, so I only had like one version.
Oh no!
And now they're saying I need to make 2 parties playable at the same time. I'm like, so I turned it off because I was like, I can't deal with that. I'm out of stress right now. And then I want to play other games on my Switch. So I'm like, I just gotta fucking finish the shit. So I spent like an hour redoing all the items and figuring out what spells mean what, and relearning the game. And I couldn't like do any grind or practicing or anything because I'm in the middle of the cutscene where they're like, let's fight Sephiroth. Let's do it. And if I died, I would have to start back because these fucking games that came out back in the 80s or whatever, they make them so hard just because there's not a lot of games out right then.
Mm-hmm.
So the last section of the game, there's like one save point in the very beginning of the dungeon. Usually there's 1 or 2 more in the middle and then one towards the end. But nope, it was just the one fucking save point through a whole dungeon, which was really hard. But luckily the Switch port had some cheats built in. So you just press a button and then you can just like max heal yourself or give yourself a limit break. So I just spammed that shit. But Sephiroth was motherfucking one-shotting a lot of my dudes. So it got pretty close. You can only use the cheat when it's your turn. But if he was one-shotting people, so I was like, I was really sweating actually with the
with the cheats.
With the cheats, this motherfucker's trying to almost have me, but I smoked him.
Congratulations!
Excellent.
It was a good final battle. It was a good ending.
Yeah.
Glad I got it. Glad I got it there.
How do you feel about you've beaten Final Fantasy VII before, right? Or is this your first time?
No, that was my first attempt. Yeah, first time playing Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, really? You had never beaten it before?
Yeah, man. If I had beaten it before, I wouldn't be playing it.
I thought you were playing it for fun again. That's why.
No, man. No.
I thought it was a nostalgia thing.
No.
Oh,
This is the
shit.
first. Yeah, nope, not a nostalgia thing. My first like version of Final Fantasy was the first Kingdom Hearts game. Actually, that's where I kind of learned about a lot of these characters. Yeah. But yeah, I've played other Final Fantasy games, but I definitely have never played 7, which is one of the most well-known ones. But yeah, it was a good time. It was really cool. I really enjoyed the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having a lot of fun with the remake, which I still have to finish. But that'll be another free-for-all.
Yeah. 40 years from now. It'll be on pause for 39 of those years.
Right, his PlayStation will be on pause for a while.
well, actually, the PlayStation it's connected with the PlayStation Plus, and my thing expired, so I don't. Whenever I decide to pay for that again.
It's the same way for me. I have it, but it's tied to the PlayStation Plus, which I don't pay for. So.
I'm on the last dungeon. I'm about to enter the last dungeon.
That's fucking hilarious.
Go fight Sephiroth. But that's going to be a 2 or 3 parter. So it's just the first part that I'm still chugging at.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Dang.
Very nice, man.
Good times.
Great. I can go next. Devin looks like he's still got to think about what he's doing.
He looked over like he was looking at one of us. Like,
hey, y'all, is somebody gonna go?
Like the Brady Bunch.
So as everybody knows, I don't know if we're all in the same position on everybody's screen. Doesn't matter.
I
don't think we are.
So keeping with my weekly movie review, which I've been doing every single week, I will try to watch a new movie, even though I have not done it for the past 2 weeks because life is hard. And the last movie I tried to watch sucked really badly. But I did watch a movie I haven't talked about yet, and I wanted to talk about Evil Dead Rise, the sequel to the, I guess, the reimagine of the Evil Dead series with the original.
Looks so
Evil Dead.
Scary.
This is the second one.
That was the first date I took Bambi on.
Really?
Yeah.
The OG Evil Dead or the remake?
It was the remake that came out when we were in college.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I feel like me and Oscar went together, which was
me and Brian went on a date as well. Yeah.
Yeah. That was our first date together as well.
True love.
So I saw the sequel because it was on HBO Max or just Max because I think it's illegal now called HBO Max. So
something like that, yeah.
And that movie it's okay.
Oh, it's just okay. Oh.
It's just okay. So this one kind of takes place in basically, I'm not sure what the area it is, but it looks like it's kind of like a derelict apartment complex. So it might be in Detroit or New York City or just one of those areas that are like, oh, they're living a little bit, below the poverty line or whatever.
I would say that New York and Detroit are more dissimilar than they are similar.
They both have a very distinct way that they hate poor people.
Copy that, yeah.
So that's what I think. When you have a big city, you usually have a big homeless population because
this is true.
Gentrification exists. But I see what you mean. But yeah, it's basically a situation that a mother and her 2 kids live in this apartment complex. It's kind of weird, kind of derelict, kind of trashy or whatever. And she's just trying her best. She's just trying to do her best, make ends meet, whatever. And then her sister comes into town and was like, "Hey, sis, I'm here. I'm living the fun, fashionable life. She might actually be from New York City. Like, 'cause I think she was pursuing a music career or something like that. And she was just coming back to just like say hey as she was traveling through to visit her sister. In which case they end up finding a book in like a basement, which you know
Of
what
course they
happens
do.
when you find the Necronomicon, which they always find, and some stupid motherfucker is always like, we should read this shit cover to cover. The book has teeth, brother. Like, what are you thinking? You
Yeah.
don't read any book that has
Don't even
teeth.
touch it.
If you see that book, you burn that shit immediately.
Yeah.
Just put it back.
Yeah, so if kind of follows that same storyline that we're pretty used to when it comes to Evil Dead movies of them reading it and then some bad stuff happening. So a lot of this kind of happens within this apartment complex, and I think that's kind of my first issue with it. Like I know the original one happens like in a cabin, so it's pretty
Yeah.
derelict in itself. Like you keep a
Mhm.
pretty standard set in there, but this set is just so small because it's an apartment and it's like a 2-bedroom. Like it's not huge, and just that kind of going around just kind of makes all the crazy stuff that happens with the actual exorcism process to just be kind of goofy and small. So it just feels less like a sequel and more like an offshoot. Like I feel like this movie could have been straight to DVD and would have been perfectly fine, or if it was something like a Netflix special or something. But this is a movie that came out in the theaters, and it costs money to make, and it's fine. It follows a lot of the same tropes. It's not nearly as funny as the first one. I think that's what really hurt me. I love Evil Dead because it's hilarious.
Right.
Nothing is
right.
funnier than Homegirl being like, "Baby, my face hurts," as she has 100 nails sticking out of her face. Like, that's so fucking funny. Or the dude, every time something happens, he takes out the duct tape to like tape someone back
Yeah.
together. That's so
Forgot
funny.
about that.
They definitely didn't lean on that humor as much in this one. There wasn't really
Bummer.
anything that made me like laugh out loud the same way. It's mostly just trying to be scary and gross. It's a gross movie. There's a lot of vomit. There's a lot of blood.
Right.
There's a lot of dismemberment. It's still more of that. But it definitely doesn't reinvent the wheel at all. So I think that's probably my biggest issue with it. But
It's just unpleasant. to
yeah,
watch.
it's very unpleasant. A lot of this is it's not CGI. A lot of this is done like traditionally and practically, which I think is really cool.
Oh God.
Right.
It sounds miserable.
So some of the stuff some stuff can look pretty goofy because of it. But I'd say that if you have HBO Max, give it a watch. It's still I'll give it like probably a 6.57 out of 10. It's still enjoyable to watch, but
That's
it's
not
definitely
bad.
not nearly as good as the first one. So you will be
Right.
disappointed if you're expecting them to like really make it bigger and better.
Gotcha.
That is kind of like an interesting thing in horror movies. Like I think I've heard before that like American horror is very centered on isolation, so that's why I always do cabins and stuff. Because I do
Interesting.
kind of, and then like British, and maybe Japanese horror is like very urban. So like the fear is the human, like that you're surrounded by people. But I feel like it's set in an urban environment. It definitely would be less scary, at least for me, because it's like, they can probably get some help pretty easily.
I'm gonna run out the house and I'm gonna go to the street. Well, I don't know. The bystander effect's really rough, especially if you're in like New York City. No one's probably gonna help your ass. You're just eating. I call it a day. It just depends
At
on
least the
how New
monster
York
might
feels.
eat somebody else first.
Right. Yeah,
You
that's
can,
true.
you can get away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't they just leave the building? Just get out of it. Just open
I'm
the
sure
door.
there was some kind of. I think there's a plot line in that, like they couldn't open the doors, and the door gets locked or something like that. They get stuck in
Oh,
there.
boy.
It's a big thing.
Like a fire escape.
Yeah, which they do have.
It's in Manhattan, so there's
There's no fucking.
Nope.
I'm on the 42nd floor, bro. Where you want us to go?
On the elevators.
The elevator doesn't work.
You better go down and run down them stairs, man. Get your cardio in.
Oh god, I'd rather die.
That's disappointing. Yeah, I'll still probably check it out because it's been on my list for a while. Like I was telling Brian before we started recording. If it's too dark outside, I ain't gonna watch that shit yet. I gotta watch that in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Especially if it's
Valid.
not funny. Fuck that.
Yeah, valid. Fair.
I'll quickly go next. Because I also watched a movie this week. I watched a Netflix movie, which wait, wait, it wasn't bad.
Netflix has some good stuff sometimes.
There's sometimes, yeah. Let's not talk about Heart of Stone, but yeah.
Ooh.
No, I watched a movie on Netflix called They Clone Tyrone.
Ooh.
Oh, I heard this is good.
Yeah.
It's pretty darn good. I will not lie.
Okay.
I think I might have been a little too hyped for it because I did go into it hearing that it was like amazing, and it wasn't quite amazing. It was just okay. This is a solid movie. It's with John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, and let me find her name real quick. Something Paris. I can't remember what her first name is. Hold on.
Paris Hilton.
Yeah, Paris Hilton.
I hope not.
What a
That would be
great cast.
so jarring in a movie with actual actors.
Teyona Paris. She's in WandaVision. She's gonna be in the Marvels. She's the
Yeah.
And it's the three of them are like the leads, and I don't want to spoil because there is like obviously like twists. The movie's called They Clone Tyrone, so it's a lot of weird like conspiracy type of things, but it's also very funny. I think my biggest issue is why it was like good and not great is that I expected more, and by the end I was like I kind of saw where this was going and have seen something similar to this, something very similar to this in another movie before. So I think that's why I was just like, it's still very good, but it's also like, it's good, very good because it's very similar to another movie that is very good.
Right.
But it's good. John Boyega's really good in it. It's good to see him. I feel like I haven't seen him in like 5 years since Star Wars.
Yeah, true.
I feel like he got blacklisted for a little bit.
But he's very good in it. Jamie Foxx is funny. I feel like he's usually very funny in most things. He's very good. They're all, really solid. Some surprise cameos in this that I didn't see coming, which are funny.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I would say check it out. I think it's like 2 hours, so it's not super, super long. Yeah. And then I don't know if they'll make a sequel to it, but they did leave room for that. But if not, yeah, just a solid movie. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, can't ever end anything cleanly that might be worth a sequel, right?
It could be worth some money.
Yeah.
Can't have a clean ending.
But yeah, surprisingly, pretty good for a Netflix movie.
That's cool. Maybe we'll check. Wait, but tell me it sucks real quick so that I can.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's not great.
Okay, good. I can go very quickly. I started a book which I've been very excited about. This book has an endorsement by the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, on the cover, which says
Donald Trump.
Yeah,
extraordinary or something. So you know cool. It's good. It's on Obama's reading list, okay? And it's also very refreshing because it's from a Chinese author who lives in the People's Republic of China, which is kind of like, first of all, I was kind of like, who? They can write books in China? Apparently they can. I didn't think that the government allowed that for them, but anyway. It's called The Three-Body Problem. And it is about,
Sounds familiar.
Soon to be a terrible Netflix show, but sorry.
It's probably going to be a bad Netflix show. But the book is based on a really cool actual physics problem. And it's like an alien invasion story in a very different way than any other sci-fi before. So I am very excited. I just started it, but I'm very enraptured by it, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. But it's based in like physics, so it's pretty cool. I like it a lot.
So you're solving equations as you're reading, or
no? It's just like so. Like usually with an alien invasion, it's like we're coming for your resources, and we're just gonna park outside your planet, and we're gonna like kill you all, right? And the days, like nothing changes space wise, right? But in physics, there's a problem. The three-body problem refers to, and I'm probably going to explain this very badly, where you can, in space, when there's two bodies, it's very predictable. Sun, Earth, like the Earth orbits the sun, right? And it's very predictable because of gravity, mass, whatever else.
Yeah.
But if a third body enters that system, there's no way to predict like what's going to happen. Like it causes all these irregular patterns, and like you can't really track it with physics or math, and nothing makes sense. So
wow,
that's, I think, the idea that that's going to play with, mainly because it's called the three-body problem, which is also a thing in physics. So
I didn't know that. That sounds very fascinating.
Yeah,
it sounds like a good book.
So I'm curious to see how the Netflix show will do, but I'm happy to read the book first.
That's what's up.
I feel like if it weren't Netflix, I would say it probably pretty good. But Netflix and money, like this sounds like, and based on that trailer, it sounds like they need a lot of money to make this look good, and I just don't think it's gonna be there.
Right, it's gonna be one set like shit.
Yeah, but I could live with bad CGI as long as they adapt it well. So I can live with that as long as they stick to the story. But we'll see.
That's cool though, man. That's very cool. You have to let us know how you like the whole book when you're done.
Yeah, so I can read the book and then hate the TV series once I read the book. And then
Nick, one more note on it. I just like, it starts out with like a flashback to like the Cultural Revolution, which was like a bad time in Chinese history where they killed a lot of people and communism, all that stuff. And he's just like very openly critical. Like the characters are like very obviously biased against it.
And this person is still alive in real life? Damn.
He is, yeah. So it's odd to me that, I don't know, like I thought their government was more restrictive on this kind of creativity.
I mean, it's China, not North Korea. They're not great, let's be real, but they're usually a little bit more covert in their shittiness.
Sometimes a person will just go missing for a couple of months and leave people speculated.
Right. So I don't know. I was surprised by that as well. But yeah, so we'll see what else I'll be surprised by.
Very nice, man.
I understand. That sounds awesome.
Before I get shout out to God of War Ragnarok. All right, that's our show, listeners. You can email us at thefortresssub@gmail.com. Fortress spelled F-O-U-R. Feel free to email us any questions, feedback, recommendations, or anything like that. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube channels at The Fortress of. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat. Follow the 3 R's like a Bollywood movie. Rate, review, and recommend us to anyone and everyone you know. Thank you, Jackie, for helping edit the podcast every week. Thank you, Alex, for the music. Thank you, Brian, for the art. And Devin, thank you for being here, even when you're not here. You can find Brian on Instagram at ITZ_, by the way, Alex at Peterson Films. And Devin, find him in someone's closet. Never mind.
Hopefully not.
You can find me looking for a good cloth box.
Yeah, you can find Devin building a fort for himself.
Yeah, I need a refrigerator-sized box.
Yeah.
If anyone has one.
No one knows what we're talking about, but that's okay.
It's gotta be soft. Soft box.
Next week, listeners, we might be talking about some Blue Beetle. I think I know I have to. I have an obligation to the culture that I have to, or else my people will crucify me. So I have to go see this potentially bad movie. But so we'll see.
Yeah, that might be a solo conversation.
It's not gonna make any money.
No, it's not. But it's okay. So look forward to that. As usual, happy holidays, everyone, and put a code on. His code out there.
Yeah, next week, just nobody log on. Nobody help.
We're gonna put out an episode and it's just 1.5 hours of nothing.
It's gonna be it's gonna be it'll be the same amount of people that are in the theater with me watching this movie. No one else. All right, bye, listeners. We'll see you here next week in another episode in the Fortress of.
3?